Hi, I'm Chris Flanagan, and on behalf of Bailey Selwyn and our vendors Brent and Shirley Rawstron, I'd like to welcome you here to Rosendale Park. Situated here at 10 Kapuka Lane, Kennedy's Bush Road, Rosendale Park offers you an opportunity to buy absolute blue chip real estate situated on the fringe of Christchurch City. So now we will take you for a wee tour around the subdivision by drone, and then when we've finished that we will have a yarn with the vendor and developer Mr. Brent Rawstron. And they want to inquire a bit more and find out.
But I think it's important that people, and so they won't be able to look into three won't be looking into the back of them.
Now let me introduce you to Mr. Brent Rawstrom, who is the developer and the owner of Rosendale Park. Brent, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
No doubt, since everyone's seen the video, they've got all the drone shots, they've got plenty of questions. But I must say, over the years, you and I have bought and sold a lot of land together, and done a few good developments, but I can tell that this one's number one for you. Obviously it's been a project, and I remember you brought me up here 6 years ago when it was just a blank paddock and had these visions and told me all about it, but to see how it's actually developed over the years and what you've finally produced here is an absolute credit to you, and I'm sure everyone's very, very keen to hear the story behind it and what is so unique about this property here. So without further ado, let's hear all about it.
Well, firstly, my family moved into the area 72 years ago, and so we've lived here all my life. I lived here, and the flat land to the south of us we've seen flood every year or every second year up to about 1 metre deep. And my dad farmed some of the flat land back in the 1950s.
Was that George?
That was George.
Yes.
And he did a lot. He tried putting drainage through it, and he put a pump in there to pump the water away. And then in the end he said, no, I'll just move to the farm next door because it doesn't flood at all. So that was kind of cool. But we live up on the hill and we look down on it and we see this flooding on a perpetual basis. And we said, right, one day someone must be able to do something about that. And so that's what sort of led to where we are today. And back in 2007, a property above us on Kennedy's Bush Road was being subdivided, and there was a big environment court action about the whole thing because the people who live on the flat land didn't want the sudden runoff of water from hard surfaces around the houses. So they're going to get the same amount of water, but we're just going to get there quicker if by the time we get house and road runoff. And so there was a big environment court case about the whole thing, and at that time I said, this is ridiculous. Why are we trying to put tanks on the hills to hold stormwater? Why don't we build dams on our land, which never floods anyway but has got a fall from north to south? And if we built some dams on there, we'll solve this problem of subdivision on the hill forever and probably help a long way to stopping the flooding, not only on the flat land to the south of us, but the whole of the Horseville River catchment from Horseville all the way to Lake Ellesmere. And so it took us a reasonable amount of time to persuade the council that this actually would be quite a good idea. Like it took us 10 years to persuade the council that it was going to be a good idea. And so by that stage it had morphed into being just a couple of dams to hold back the stormwater from the existing houses. It morphed into a stormwater facility that will, in peak rainfall, hold 128,000 cubic metres of water.
Wow.
And that really is the whole of the catchment of the 95 hectares of land that goes between this property and the Summit Road.
Right.
Now the point is that it is detention ponds only. So 99.99% of the year there's nothing in them.
They're empty.
They're just a nice grass area with some sheep, ewes and lambs, keeping them nice and tidy, and no one has to mow them. There's a bit of livestock to keep them nice and tidy. And they'll be just a grass, you'll be looking out on a grass outlook forever, because no one will ever be able to build in them, because of course they're stormwater ponds owned by the Christchurch City Council.
Right.
And so what makes this really quite unique is that this is infrastructure for Christchurch City, but is on private land, and so consequently it doesn't form a public park. Right. So there's a gated, you already started up at the top of the drive, and you have a gated entrance. So that is allowing people, only the 5 residents who will live down this road, access way, that's all the people who ever get in here, because it's gated, them and their friends. And
it'll be a park-like setting.
It's a park-like setting without it being a public park,
yeah, right.
Which is quite unique to start with. And the other thing over the time, as you well know, we've developed quite a few 4-hectare lots.
Yes.
And you know I've hated every one of them. Not because they're 4-hectare lots, that was the way to sell the farms, because if we hadn't done them and sold it as a farm, the next person was going to just sell them straight away as a development anyway. But I have always looked at 4-hectare lots and seen the waste of land, valuable land for producing food, just being destroyed, because someone puts a house in the middle of it and they have a couple of sheds and business, and next minute there's wasted land. They might have a few sheep, they might have a few cattle, but at the end of the day the productivity of that land has gone. And I've argued for a very, very, very long time that we have to do better than that, and we can do better than that. And so as things transpired, Shirley and I, my wife and I, looked at this project as our legacy project. This is something where we've been able to create 1-hectare, 4 1-hectare buildings platforms, and the balance of that land has gone to the council to go under the stormwater ponds.
Right.
And so although it was a 4-hectare subdivision initially, 3 hectares of all that land from every 4-hectare lot is there for the use and the value of people for decades and decades and decades to come, because these dams will just not disappear. They're here forever.
Forever, yeah.
And what this has done has made it the life better for everyone who lives south of us and anywhere down the Horsell River, between the inception of the Horsell River to Lake Ellesmere. Everyone's life is going to be better off every time it rains as a result of this.
So the 4 1-hectare titles that you're creating,
Yep.
people, they get the chance to build their own home on that.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. The sort of people who we expect to fall in love with these blocks, to buy them, will have their own dream of what they want to build there.
Yeah.
I don't want to build their dream. No. We're expecting them to build a house in excess of 350 square metres. We expect it to be of some architectural merit, and so consequently they'll have their own dreams. And I'm not there. They may or may not build a house that I particularly like or don't like. That's not my problem. But it's their dream they're building. They're going to have a dream lot to build their dream home on. Yeah. And that's it. We're not going into the building houses for them. What we have done, and we've spent a horrendous amount of time and effort to make this a fully developed site right from the very beginning. So when we started the project of actually building the dams back in 2017, the first thing we did, as soon as we'd moved past this particular area of the land, is we planted out all the natives. So the natives are 8, 9, 10 years old, just about. And so that's why they're starting to get some height, they're starting to get some growth. And behind us, we've planted a couple of hectares of redwood trees. And the redwood trees are amenity trees. They're not there to be ever felled. There's absolutely no point. It's just purely to create, and I just like redwood trees.
Yes.
And I just didn't want to have natives everywhere. We wanted to have something other than natives. And the redwood tree to me was a perfect tree to have. And the reason for that being is that we've got one lot. Lot 1 is behind me and slightly to my right. And we don't want them having to sort of really be careful of what they put on their site, rather than having the lots 3, 4 and 5 look into them. Or lots 3, 4 and 5 don't want lot 1 looking into their site. No. So as the redwood trees grow up, they'll have total privacy. And so they were planted again in 2007. So it's been a long-term plan to think about what this is going to need to look like in 10 to 15 years.
You put a huge amount of thought into it.
Oh yeah, we've been here for a long time. We've thought about this project for many years. Yeah. And so this to us is trying to almost make perfection in a subdivision if we possibly can.
I guess the big thing for buyers to realise is that this is a bit of a one-off. It's the first time it's been done, isn't it? So,
Well, you can't get you cannot buy a 1 hectare lot in Christchurch City. This is inside Christchurch City boundaries.
Yeah.
You cannot buy a 1 hectare lot.
It's
End of
unique.
question. That's it. You cannot buy it. Then you add to the fact that it's on city sewer. High pressure water, 3,000 litres a day of high pressure water. You've obviously got power, you've got fibre. Everything's here. It's a residential subdivision in a rural setting, but it's a decent sized section. People we expect to a hectare, they can either have a ride-on lawnmower and a few trees and mow it themselves, or they can have a big boys toy shed, they can have a tennis court, they could almost have a dressage arena for their kids to ride ponies in. There's plenty of room for all that.
It's
And that's what it's all about.
Isn't it?
It's unlimited without them having to have the hassle of looking after 4 hectares.
Yeah.
And I've long seen a 4 hectare lot as not a lifestyle, but like a life sentence block to a lot of people.
Yeah.
They like it for a year, then all of a sudden they want to go away on holiday. Well, what to do with their animals?
Yeah.
Who looks after their animals?
Yeah.
You've only got to talk to vets about what they think of 4 hectare lots, and you move on. So this is the ideal scenario. Now, I'd love to be able to do this, and I'd love to with the government's ideas on elite soils, and I'd love to be doing these 1 hectare lots and set-asides like they do in other countries of the world. But no, at the moment, most people have to buy a 4 hectare lot and put up with it if they want more than 800 or 900 square metres. So we've got that unique advantage here.
Yeah. No, so there you have a bit of a roundup from Brent, but really there's just so many features that we could yarn about. But one of the biggies for me, as Brent said, it's on the city sewer. There's no outlay for septic tanks, which is $40,000 plus. It's just 5 minutes from the city doorstep. There's just so much going on for it. But if you want to buy some blue chip real estate, you won't go or find anything better than this. So Brent, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I'm sure that answers a few questions for our potential buyers and those that want to take it any further. And I'm sure if you want to discuss it further with Brent, that he would be open to having a cup of coffee and just pointing out anything else that you're not too sure about. But thank you, Brent.
You're welcome.
It's a cracker of a subdivision.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and Shirley.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work.
It's going to be exciting, and there's just a real opportunity here for people to live the life, really. So we're going to be auctioning these blocks early December, and they'll be marketed in about a month's time. So yeah, keep an eye out for it, and we look forward to seeing you here on site at some stage to view this magnificent subdivision, Rosendale Park. Thank you.
Cheers.